Thank you, sir. May I have another? Thank you, sir. May I have another? Thank you, sir.
What are you doing?
This is our frat initiation.
No, it's not. We're we're viewing Pledge Night.
Hey guys, it's your favorite final boy and girl, Alex and Emily, coming at you in a new episode of Gag Me with a Knife, a weekly podcast where we dissect, disembowel, and shred the best and worst slasher movies. This month has been renamed Pledge Month, as our podcast will be highlighting slashers that are all about that college Greek life. For today's episode, we're going to be gagging on 1988's or 1990, we're not sure, Pledge Night. As always, Emily has the original and priceless VHS copy. So thank you, Emily. May we hear another back of the box?
Yeah, let's if I can get through it. 20 years ago, Sid's college career took a sudden dive when fraternity pledge masters gave him a fatal initiation bath in boiling acid. This grisly death changed Sid's educational plans and his name. And today, Acid Sid is back to earn his master's degree in revenge. He finds the perfect curriculum intact at Old Phi Up, where unlucky pledges are still dying and horrific initiations rights shrugged off as practical jokes gone wrong. Sid takes on the evil frat rats one by one, turning the animal house into a human slaughterhouse. Eventually, one loyal frat brother sets out to stop Sid. But how do you kill a graduate monster that's already dead? 1988 or 1990. Your thoughts?
So there's a reason we have so many more sorority horror movies than fraternity movies. I think men suck. I will say I loved this movie when I was little. This bunch of actors literally are bottom of the barrels, picked straight from a Sears catalog, the worst. I think the frat house is so fugly. The music is a little too aggro for me, not boppy at all. All these food pranks throughout the movie made me want to Ralph, but the formula is still there. You know, we've talked about, or in the back of the box, someone dies a freak accident, and then this revenge slasher gets set into motion years later. It just takes actual years to get there. Normally, I'm okay with that. But this one was just, the buildup was not as entertaining as some movies like, Slumber Party Massacre 2, for example. So I think the first half is a total snooze fest, but the second half is worth it. But it doesn't save the whole movie for me. There's some pretty gnarly kills and some funny one-liners throughout the whole movie from the killer and just quotes. I think it'd be way more fun to watch this with people and with friends. What about you?
Yeah, so I was about to say, what I was saying actually is that it would, I did think that when I was watching it, that it'd be a lot better if it if I was watching it with somebody else. But it does take a really long time. I don't mind it that much though, because it's like all the pranks and stuff like that. And just there's some questions that I have though. So they're doing all these tricks, and there's always one guy in the frat that has to act like the crazy guy that's supposed to scare the other frat and whatever they're called, the pledges, yeah. And so he goes crazy, but he starts actually killing people. But that wasn't with Sid in him, was it?
No, and we'll get to all of that.
Because that confused me, because I was just like, what?
Yeah. So we'll get all about to what you're talking about. But overall, you thought it was fun enough?
Oh yeah, I thought it was. Well, I mean, I've been watching this movie since I was little, so I've always liked it. I think it's a fun movie. I think that the characters are fine. I mean, they're not great. I mean, I watch Lifetime TV movies for fun. So, I mean, I don't expect the best or anything.
Right.
No. So, yeah, I mean, it was questionable. And you said something about the music. The music is actually, it's actually the band Anthrax, which is a pretty big band. And I do like one of their songs. I can't remember what it's called, but there's one song.
Yeah, I'm not a huge I don't know if they're supposed to be 80s rock metal or what they're considered.
It's I don't know, 80s, it's like 80s
metal.
punk. It'd probably be more of a post punk or something. I don't know.
I mean, I'd rather listen to Megadeth or Slayer.
It's more a little hardcore.
Yeah.
Like we're
so this movie was definitely ASMR before ASMR was even a thing, because when the opening credits are going and there's like things being flushed down the toilet and you hear this guy brushing his teeth and stuff, you're like, what the hell's going on? And then it just pans right into him like shaving. And everyone in this movie, there's like a couple times where people shave in this movie, like whether it's their armpits or their faces, and they don't even, that does not look real. It looks like they're shaving a balloon, like they're just barely woo wah wah over whatever they're cutting. But then these masked men in black masks and jackets like take the full length of a 5K to run behind him, and he doesn't even see them in the mirror. So I was like, what is going on? And basically they do this thing. It's called treeing somebody. I never.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, you've never heard about this?
I'd never heard about someone being treed before.
Oh, you haven't?
Tied to a tree, and they lay flowers at his like feet and start throwing eggs at him, all because he's in an official relationship with some new girl. I guess it's like this Greek thing to do.
Yeah, it is. Well, I mean, I wouldn't say that it's a thing anymore, but I think they use it.
I mean, it's better than being shoved inside of a bear costume and set on fire like in Midsummer. So I guess I'd rather be treed.
I mean, true. Or the Wicker Man.
So yeah, you basically, oh my God, yeah. So you basically learn that in the next scene, it goes to these two overly aggroed homoerotic douchebags, Chip and JD, and they're essentially like, they're in the fraternity already, this like Phi Epsilon Nu or whatever it's called. You see all these pledges. You learn that the guy that was just out there was their like president. His name is Rex, I think. So you get your little intro to all these pledges. Again, Chip and JD. And then there's this one pledge. He looks like he's straight out of Who's the Boss. His name is like Larry Bonner.
Bonner, yeah.
And no one's ever calls him Boner the whole movie, which is a missed opportunity for me.
Opportunity for sure, yes.
Maybe in the remix. Didn't they remake this in like a couple years ago?
No.
There's a 2019 version. I just don't know. Or maybe it's just a re-release of the same movie.
Yeah.
That came out a couple years ago. But Bonner's probably going to be the main character, our final girl, if you will. And then all of a sudden they all start doing push-ups, and I'm like, when did the frats become the military? Like, why are we doing push-ups and for punishment? I guess that's all. I didn't do frats. I didn't have to get hazed and pay for friends, so I don't know why that happens. And while they're in there doing that, they just start hearing this maniacal laughter, and they find out that, you know, there's this guy over there that's Dan in the room,
a brain tumor.
Doing his best reenactment of the Joker, and they're just like, yeah, he's been off lately, but the surgery's coming up. So then what you alluded to was basically they always have this one that we don't know yet, but it comes out. They have this one person that they always scare their pledges with by saying he's crazy and he's gonna like snap and kill you and all these things. And then as we go through this movie, this guy actually kind of is crazy and starts like killing people. And we'll get to more of it as well, right? But his laughing was straight up like Mark Hamill's version of the Joker from the Batman animated series. It was okay, but it got really annoying. Like, it's like, you know, Tickle Me Elmo used to be cute, like ha ha ha, that tickles, until like it wasn't after like 5 seconds. That's what I felt like.
Is this the movie where someone says that's for Spiro Agnew?
That's coming later. Yeah, that's gonna come with Winter Kills.
I have that. I just have that written down. It's just a lone quote, and I thought it was in this.
That's my favorite quote in the whole movie. Then it goes to the meet and breakfast or lunch or something, and all of a sudden Dan, you know, is trying to really play up having this brain tumor, and he starts smashing his plate, and like then this girl walks in, and it's Wendy, the girlfriend of the guy that was treated at the beginning, so the girlfriend of the president. He like picks her up and slams her into the wall and starts like dry humping her to death. And I'm like, what is going on? And then the president comes in and he's like breaking him up, and then he starts getting stabbed in the back by this guy, like literally with a steak knife. And everyone's freaking out. The pledges are like losing their shit. And they carry this guy out that's been stabbed, and the guy's just like, whatever, don't bleed all over my car. And I'm like, what the hell? What is going on? And then like literally they show up at some place that's like some diner. It's like famous for sausages or something. I don't know. And I'm like, hello, you need to go to the hospital. And turns out they faked it all. Yeah, you prankster. So I guess it's not just sororities that fake, you know, this kind of stuff. It's the men's too, right? But I had no idea that was going to be fake. Like that kind of threw me for a second because I was like, wow. But that was also like, wow, this guy is straight up from the beginning. We know who the killer is going to be. He is aggressive and psychotic.
And then it's soon after that the Bonner goes to visit his mom because he's a townie. He's one of the few townies. And he goes to visit her, and she's just like, she just keeps on telling him that she doesn't want him to pledge the fraternity.
Well, so that's going to come in about 30 more minutes still. And
about 30 minutes.
Yeah, she visits him actually. She comes.
I'm talking about when he goes to visit her.
She comes to him and tells him not to pledge. He goes to her as well.
Yeah, he goes near the beginning. He goes to her house.
Oh, I blacked that part out. So yeah, so if he goes to her, she comes back and repeats the exact same conversation that she doesn't want him to join a frat. Like,
well, no, she goes in more depth about it.
Yeah. So, and we don't know what's going on with her still. Like, Mama's being weird because, like, in the 80s, like, or 90, we don't know when this was. Oh
yeah, it's when he goes home to it's when he goes home to get his stuff.
Because they're gonna stay there for 3 days.
Yeah, yeah, because they're gonna be staying there, and then his mom is there, and
yes.
And she does tell him that she's against the frat system just because the boy died during a hazy incident.
Right.
And that they lost their charter for a couple of years, but she doesn't like go too much.
That's right. That's right. So, but like it's just interesting too, because like this is like, you know, late 80s, early 90s, where like Greek life was still kind of, I don't know. I don't want to say, I don't know what's happened to the Greek system now. I'm way detached from college life at this point in my mid 30s, but it was still pretty popular, I guess, to like.
Well, it was huge. I mean, that's like
right.
the way that, especially with like men, that is the way that you would get jobs.
Yeah, well, yeah. Later on, they give all these stats, and he's like 65% of the congressmen
that's a real thing. Yeah, that's like a real
whatever, thing. Or we're in the frat, and she's like, well, that's what's wrong with America, and I'm like, I love you, Mom. You go. So.
Yeah, and how many of them had to die?
Oh, preach. So yeah, he goes to get his stuff. We get this little like warning, you know, it's not a crazy man at the gas station like a camp slasher, but you know, Mom is warning. And then basically we get told it's going to be 3 days of hell. You're going to sleep here for, you know, until Monday. And it's hell week or whatnot. And then like it flashes forward to, I guess, one of the pledge masters. He's splitting wood because that'll come into play for like a prank or a hazing thing later on. He's splitting wood, but it's like
Bonner splits wood in it.
It's like a twig. Well, whoever's splitting wood is like splitting twigs. They're super thin. That when they're cutting them with the axe, it's like he's splitting the piece that was already split. Like it's so small, and I'm like, that's gonna like really just shrivel up and burn. That's not gonna heat the fire. But I guess it works because it works for the scene that they use it on. But then this is when the movie takes a total turn for me because I'm just like, what is going on? Like, what's this? Like, they're like, oh, now they're like, ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for the annual Phi-Ep cherry race. And I'm like, what's a cherry race? Oh. And also, I don't know how possible this really is, but they are, you know, running from these ice blocks and picking up cherries with their buttholes and jock straps. Mm-hmm. Like, yep. I don't know how you.
I don't either.
And they don't use their hands. They don't like open their butts. Like, it's not like I don't know how they're doing it. They might have been very popular on campus if they could do that and pick up cherries with their buttholes. But anyway, it turns out the end person, like, it's like the loser has to eat these cherries. And I'm like, what is this? What? And like, I don't know. Would you play that game? Did you do it?
No. I mean, that's so stupid.
Yeah.
But, whatever. Eventually, they just do a bunch of hazing shit, like, and they do that for way too long. And then that's when you're talking about the mom comes back.
Yeah, but one of the hazing things that they do next, well, after that, they go to this strip club / bar, where the strip club is like the size of.
Oh yeah.
Like the catwalk is like the size of a dining room table. I'm like, I don't know how you're supposed to put on a good show when you can't even walk. But she's doing that, and then there's this room upstairs called the Boom Boom Room, and it made me so uncomfortable. These two guys and a girl on a couch. I'm just like, okay,
Oh yeah.
this is kind of the frat life I'm kind of thinking of here. But she's into it, I guess. Then they start getting their bare bottoms spanked. I'm like, okay, we expect that. But then they put that wood in the fireplace, and they start
branding each other.
They start branding each other. But the first guy is like, he's like, you can scream if you want to, but they trick him. They stick the hot poker in a barrel or bucket of ice, but stick the icy poker on his butt, and he mixes up the senses, and he screams anyway. And they were gonna do it the same thing to Bonner, but the guy, for some reason, he gets both pokers on his ass at the same time, and Bonner actually gets branded. I'm like, well, that's cool. And he just wakes up the next day like, no shame in this game. He's been picking up cherries with his butthole. His ass gets burnt, and he's like, oh, hey, Mom. Hey, what's up? And then she's like, let me tell you about the boy who died. It's like, dun, dun, dun. Like,
I just wanted to be like, and you couldn't have this conversation earlier, but okay.
Right? Like, you couldn't have had it when he was at the house. Like, you actually came over here. Like, maybe she was like, you know what? It just didn't sit well. I couldn't sleep. Okay, well, there's also a phone, but I mean, this is only the 80s, maybe 90. We don't know. And so we learned about this kid. His name's like Sydney Snyder. Snyder, something.
Snyder, I think.
And
they had this prank where it was they were going to be dunked under this concoction that was supposed to be cornflakes, coffee grounds, soda, and vinegar.
Yeah.
But someone accidentally poured in acid, and that's ever like lying around.
They accidentally pour a whole bottle. Well, the thing is, they show this little bottle, but this motherfucking bathtub is overflowing of muriatic acid. First of all, why is that in a But yeah, it happens, I guess.
Yeah, so they put Sid in there, and he obviously it's horribly burned.
Boiled,
and dies.
Burned alive,
yeah. So
and then she's like, oh Lord. She's like, yeah, he died, and they shut the thing down, and a year later you were born.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Good segue, Mom, because they were like, he just said, I know you're worried because you had to be the mom and the dad, and like, okay, so there's something going on here with this past, like.
Oh, it is Snyder, by the way. It's on the front of my.
It says Snyder. I knew it was something like.
Yeah, it's on the front box. Like, it's the box that I have that has his hand coming out from the toilet. It says Sid Snyder, batch 1990.
That's right. Is he holding anything in the toilet when he's
a banana?
So that goes into all these pranks that you were just saying.
Yeah. So the next that's coming up. It's
just a montage of
like eating raw eggs, eating pieces of shit from the toilet that's actually banana
covered in
anchovy paste. Drinking milkshakes.
The guy has to eat the worms, and then they pour honey and roaches all over his face.
Yes. Oh. I'm
like, I'm out of here. I don't need to buy my friends.
Yeah, I know. I would have been like, this is fucking dumb. And
oh my God. And then you meet and I think he's going to end up being like my favorite character because they're all in this, like these mattresses, like it looks like a prison cell. He's like, no sheets again. I need a shower. I'm just like, it's Bodine. I'm like, Bodine, I love you, Booby. I love you. And this is 40 minutes into the movie.
Yes.
There are 0 horror vibes and it's 150% Animal House vibes. I'm like, this is just Porky's and bro did misogyny galore. Where's my horror? Well,
at about 40 minutes in, that's when
the next
a hand pokes out of the toilet before someone can use it.
Yeah, there's 2 toilets side by side. I'm like, why are they side by side?
Well, and they're full toilets anyway.
Like full commodes. And
they're not like,
urinal on a toilet.
The dick, I called them dick commodes. I don't know.
A urinal?
Urinals, yes.
Or a trough. We're not animals.
Or a dick commode.
I like dick commodes because that's what they are. Just wall-to-wall penis and sausages. It's like there's that restaurant they take Rex to at the beginning, known for their Philly cheesesteaks and sausages. Well, also frat houses known for their dick commodes and sausage parties. Oh my God.
Okay, so at about 40 minutes,
it sounded like him taking a shit. When he's like taking a shit, it sounds like someone slurping the bottom of a Coke.
So like, this hand gropes and grabs the first person to come along and tears his dick apart.
Yes, you don't see it.
And while all that's happening, JD is teaching the pledges about the history of the fraternity.
Yeah, it keeps flashing back and forth, and they hear all this laughing and screaming and all this stuff, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, I don't know if anyone's ever seen this. I don't know if you've even seen this, but the movie Spice World, they can travel like via toilet or something, and I'm like, what the fuck? How is this hand? This whole ass hand, and then doesn't he give the peace sign right there?
Yes.
I'm like, what is this? Peace.
So he sends Chip to keep an eye on the screaming because I guess at the time, like I guess they think it's Dan.
Yeah, I think it's Dan.
So Chip runs he finds someone, he freaks out, and then he runs into Dan.
You said he freaks out, but you know what? I had to pause the movie. I was crying because I was hoping you would have got this too. But when he sees Tom all splayed out and dead and bloody in the bathroom, he starts screaming and gagging, and it sounded in my head like when I spilled spaghetti on myself.
Oh my god, it totally did.
And if people want to know what that sounds like, the lady from the Grape Stomp video that went viral like in 2003.
That's exactly what it sounded like.
Yeah.
Oh my god! And you just spilled spaghetti all over the room, just letting it trail all over the place.
Trail of spaghetti.
It was the trail of spaghetti, and we've never forgotten it.
I think about it every time I eat Italian or pasta or anything.
If I see trash on the side of the road, I think of the trail of tears. If I see spaghetti, I think of the trail of spaghetti.
Oh my god! What the fuck? I cannot.
Well, you know the trash is the crying Native American. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
Okay, I think everyone else does too. Like, there's no one in America that doesn't know that commercial. Yeah. So, anyway, okay, so sorry.
Chip meets Dan. Yeah.
Yeah, Chip runs into Dan and tells him what he saw because he's like freaking out. And he's like, this is going to end the fraternity just like this other guy's death did. And Dan just starts laughing.
Of course.
And
Joker.
So he thinks that it's all a prank by Dan and calms down just long enough for
them to bro it out and hug it out.
Yeah, while Dan fucks him fucking screwdrivers in his back.
Starts stabbing it with multiple screwdrivers.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, good. I didn't like Chip anyway.
Yeah, true. And in a name like Chip, sorry. sorry for your future. We only had one Chip Thomason, and I doubt he's listening to this, but sorry for your future.
I just like Chip from Beauty and the Beast. Okay, whatevs. I like Chip.
I like chips to eat and chips to the show, I guess.
And chips to play poker with.
Yeah, I love chip. I love poker chips.
And chips of paint to smell. What?
Yeah, but I don't want exactly. And I like, I was gonna say and spray paint, but that has nothing to do with chips. So,
yeah.
But I do not like people named Chip, I guess.
Oh.
Well, sorry, I guess I've ruined it for myself. My future husband will not be named Chip.
We're not staying gagged on Chip. Okay. Nope. All right.
So then we're supposed to think Dan is the killer, right? So
we just saw him kill somebody. So yeah,
exactly.
But there's also no way his hand was in the goddamn toilet.
Exactly. So we're like, okay, what the hell's going on now? So he kicks a radio up to one of the bathrooms. He visits one of the ladies,
and then he breaks it in with a screwdriver.
And then he throws it into the bathtub.
Yeah, she's electrocuted. She dead.
She gets electrocuted. So this sends the whole frat code. So this electricity, it shuts off all the power in the whole house. So JD finally, so he's like yelling at people and pissed off, I guess, but he leaves the pledges locked in the basement. So then that's when Bonnie, who was she's just a little sister, she comes and she has more groceries, and then so Dan runs into her. And
this is my second favorite movie.
Yeah, this one's good. So she's like just talk. I mean, also, Dan, I feel you. She would not shut the fuck up. She's just talking and talking and talking.
You need to get her gagged or real quick.
I mean, gagged. Like, I get it. Like, she just wouldn't shut the fuck up.
She was like the girl, maybe it was Demi, I don't remember, but the girl
in yes, it is
Boy
totally.
Camp too. That wouldn't, and she gave her all that time.
Yeah, and she just like, The one where the girl's talking about stuff and Angela's like checking different
Yeah.
things.
And this girl, Bonnie, is holding this bag of groceries, which is used multiple times in the movie with the exact same shit in it.
Yep.
Could they not afford multiple bags of groceries?
Well, it's better than what was the movie we watched recently? Oh yeah, it's better than them using the same 4 pieces of wilted salad.
That and like and the same 3 drops of blood on the scalpel in Last Summer Party.
Yeah, so I mean, step
but
up.
That salad was clearly dying. It died in Blood Cult. It died a painful death each scene. We needed to pour one out for that salad because it kept getting murdered.
If I had a 40 right now, I'd pour it out.
Pour it out for the homies of salads.
Yeah.
Yes.
So she just won't shut the fuck up. And Dan grabs a mixer, and it's the electrical one, which this I don't think is possible.
No. Well,
but
it's not possible.
It would be possible if you stabbed through it first with something else.
No, I think okay. So yeah, he gags her with it, but like
he doesn't gag her with it. He stabs her chest with it.
No, it's in her mouth.
Oh, I thought he stabbed her in her chest with it.
Well, we see her later. There's blood all over her mouth, and it shows her.
Oh, it's in her face. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but it would work. It probably wouldn't stay turning, especially in this Hamilton Beach model does not have a freaking processor or an engine or whatever they're called. I don't know what they're called. That would keep going. You could stop it with your hands. And so the blunt force of it all would have ripped through her throat probably. Ugh. That was my second favorite death of the movie.
Yeah, it was a good one. And then so JD finds her. He finds the girl upstairs. And he tries to call for help, but the phone's dead, and Dan's right behind him. So Wendy finds her,
he does. He also does find her in the kitchen too.
Oh, he does find her in the kitchen. Okay,
yeah, and then he goes and finds Chip.
Then Wendy finds the girl in the kitchen, and she rushes down to the where the pledges are.
Yeah.
And Dan gets JD all tied up, pulling down his pants, and he shoves.
JD runs in there and sees and oh my god, Dan, you're here. And he smashes him on the head with the wine bottle and knocks him out.
Yeah. And then he pulls his pants down and shoves a cherry bomb down his frat brother's head.
And he goes, Dan, what are you doing? And the guy goes, I'm not Danny. My name is Sid. And then right when he does that, Dan has this aneurysm and you're like, what? He's trying to light this cherry bomb. You don't know what the fuck. I'm like, what the fuck is going on with this movie? I literally had no clue. And then all of a sudden, this demon creature rips through a la Alien out of this motherfucker's chest and then shoots a fireball out of his fingers to the cherry bomb. And I'm like, what the actual frat hell is this movie? I mean, it was really cool when I was like, he shot a damn fireball out of his fingers.
Yeah, so then we see that,
and that's the best death in the movie.
So
now they're all locked in the basement trying to figure out what to do.
Sid has come out. So Sid is this Freddy Krueger reject, hippie movement reject.
He looks as if Freddy Krueger and Angela from Night of the Demons had a baby. It's gonna be Sid wearing Vietnam Army garb.
Yes. Yeah.
With bandana and everything, but boiled and burnt to a crisp. He's got the Freddy look with the Angela /Powers /voice and the little Vietnam house.
So we're supposed to think that he's been possessing Dan all this time, which doesn't really make sense from the first death with the hand coming out of the toilet. But I digress. That doesn't matter.
It doesn't. Yeah, I was so like, what? How?
Yeah, I just completely suspended belief on that one because I was like, the whole point of this is that he was supposed to be possessing him because he does it again later. So I'm just gonna let that one go. It's fine.
Yep. Same.
So the pledges hear that cherry bomb going off, and they try to leave, but they're like, "Oh shit, we're locked in the basement." Oopsie. And so rather than trying to find another way to leave,
well, they actually say they'd rather stay locked in the basement.
They hunker down.
One of them's like, "I'd rather stay locked in here, safe from whoever's up there." I'm like, okay, well. Okay, if that makes sense.
So then all of a sudden there's this fake coffin down there.
Yeah.
And it's just sitting there, and I guess
well, they say that
JD was using it for JD was using it for his story.
They say the dead body of the president of the fraternity is in it.
Yeah, but guess who shot? Guess who comes out?
Surprise, bitch! It's not the driller killer from Summer
Sid,
Party
the
Massacre
acid
2.
ghost. Yeah,
But this is when I'm like, oh, okay, this is gonna be like Summer Party Massacre 2 in the sense that he can be everywhere like a fever dream.
and he will be.
He will be, and he vanishes like a damn ghost all the time in this movie. He just appears and reappears and disappears, and I'm like, I really needed some acid.
Yeah,
Like literally acid. Sorry.
So,
But then they start fighting him.
One of them grabs one of the knives that was also being used for the story.
Kegel, he grabs a sword.
Yeah, he starts stabbing him in the stomach, and that doesn't go well. So
yeah, because I think it's Zahn gets his hand grabbed, and where he grabs his hand, it burns his hand, and he gets pushed away because Kegel starts to think, "I'm going to save you." So he stabs Sid in the stomach, but then he pulls the sword out and then like rips his intestines out and chokes him with his own intestines.
With his own intestines, yes.
And like I've only know it's intestines because I looked that up, but it looks
like a spinal cord.
Like a spinal cord, but everywhere I've read says large intestines, and I'm like,
I think it looks like a spinal cord.
I'm like, it's way more rad if it's an actual spinal cord. His central nervous.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah, and then the guy goes. So then he's like, ha ha ha, chokes Kegel, kills him, vanishes. Literally, like you see him fade out like Ghost.
Yeah.
And he goes. Then I think it's Zahn. He goes, look what he did to my hand, and I'm like, how about you look how he just murdered your friend with his own central nervous system right now? Like, hello. God. So
and for some reason Bonner, he has very quickly put things together. Like all of a sudden he knows that this must be Sid back from the dead. I mean, okay, you're right, but I mean
you're right, but how are you right? I mean, your mom told you that story, and like it was compelling, but like really, if she was that good of a storyteller, you would have listened to her in the beginning and never come to this shithole.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're going to believe her now.
If you had walked in, immediately walked right back out because that place looked like shit. So, I mean.
There was nothing on the wall. Exactly. It was fugly. That was one of my opening remarks is like, there's not even any, there's no area rugs. There's no runners. There's nothing on the walls. It's just this shithole. I mean, God. Ugh, sorry. I know that's not the reason you joined a frat, but it's gross. We need some aesthetics here. Come on, people.
Yeah. No, I think it's, a good reason not join one is that they're gross.
Right.
But so then Silvera. Yeah. So he's
the guy that made him eat worms and roaches earlier.
Yeah, and he's like laying down on the ground, and he has some kind of like extra moment. That movie Extra, where like Sid just comes out of his body.
Well, Sid doesn't come out of his body. His body. So he ate all those worms and bugs, and his stomach starts getting bigger and bigger. Then it blows up, and all these worms and bugs start crawling out of his body.
I thought for some reason Sid was.
It looks like a head is coming out of his body, but like. He starts. Well, I mean, and Sid might come out too, or maybe the bugs have acid on him or something. But like, because he kind of gets melty and burned as well. But once he's all dead, there's all these worms and roaches all over him. They cut away from whatever explosion happens. It could be Sid's head. It could just be bugs and worms. It could be both. They kind of it's off. It's like off of screen for like 2 seconds.
Yeah. So they get a hatchet and they're like hatcheting the door. This is another movie where it's like, here's Johnny.
Here's Johnny. Once again, we get it, but
then Zahn runs off to find a phone that works so he can call the cops.
Finally,
and that doesn't happen because when you tell the cops that there's a dead acid freak that's coming out of people's bodies and killing people, it's like, I mean, who's going to believe that?
Nobody. So, I would though. I would if I was on duty. I'd be like the first to be like, this is a horror movie. This is happening.
Yeah, you would. But cops are dumb, and so as soon as he gets off the phone, he's grabbed by Sid and just, oh my God, his head is just bashed into the wall
bashed over and over.
I mean, over and over. I mean, dead. So I guess then there's 2 other pledges that come in and he scares them. So they like.
Well, this is when they're walking around and they're looking for people, and it's Bodine and
Scooby-Doo.
And Goodman.
Well, it's like Scooby-Doo. The way they're just like running around everywhere, but So I guess Goodman's the next one that finds him, and he has.
And they're hunting.
I really liked his death too, where he snaps his neck and it like snaps it all the way around.
Right after he goes, "This is for Spiro Agnew."
Yes.
And ripped his head off. Basically.
And that's why I wrote that down. I guess why.
Yeah. Well, and right before they do that though too, some of them are kind of hiding they're in different rooms of the house. Like Bonner and Wendy are upstairs and whatever. And then that's when Goodman comes up there, and Goodman's like, okay, I'm gonna go try to find him, and so he leaves. But right then, Wendy's like, we've got to kill him before he kills us first. Great plan, bitch. Like, what are you even thinking about? And then right before even Goodman gets killed too, and they find Zahn's body in this foggy ass house, Sid like bursts through this like giant window, and he's like, bummer, huh? I'm just kind of like, this guy. And they just show him walking around this house like he's trying to be Chop Top, he's trying to be Angela, he's trying to be Freddy, he's trying
to be who else? There's another person,
this driller killer from Summer Party 2.
Yes.
He's trying to be all these things, and at the end of the day, he just comes across as like, I don't know, I just didn't like his outfit either. Well, I mean, I guess. Well, but I mean, I guess I'm not really prone to a raggedy ass green and red sweater either. So who am I for fashion?
Yeah, fact. So then Bodine is the next one.
Yes,
and so like great. He has the sword, and like. I don't know why they think this sword is going to help anybody, because it hasn't yet. But
this isn't Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Why are you attacking demons with swords? I don't get it.
So he just grabs him and shoves him repeatedly, stabbing a hole in his gut. So
he stabs. Bodine stabs him, and then Sid pulls his hands even further in to be like, bitch, this don't hurt. And then his hands come out all acidy and burnt. And then he grabs his head and shoves it into his gut hole, and is like. And he burns, he drowns, he suffocates, he does all these things. It's like an alien from Aliens, and it just shoves his head into his chest, and it was kind of, or his stomach. It was kind of cool. I don't know.
That's a good death. And then all we have left really is Bonner and Wendy. And so there's like they're like fighting with him. It's actually there's a bat. Okay, Bonner has a bat, and then Sid has a sword.
Sid has a sword.
And we don't know where Wendy is at this very moment. Okay.
And he doesn't just have a bat. He ends up having a lamp as well.
Oh yeah. Well, it doesn't really do anything, but
because I throw lamps across the room.
Also, the back of the bat. Somehow the room looks nicer than it did before, but that's
because I think they finally threw a lamp in there, and then he throws the lamp across the room. So that was for nothing.
Yeah. So. They're
going at it.
Yeah, they're going at it. And then, see, we got a final girl. You got a final girl.
Boner's
got a final girl. And Wendy comes in with a fire extinguisher and just shoots the shit out of Sid. And then
Bonner kills him, apparently.
But Bonner takes the sword and crams it down his throat.
I wish we would see more of that, but yeah, he basically gets frozen to death by a freaking fire extinguisher. I was like, "Are you fuck?" He can poof. He can come in the toilet, and a fire extinguisher took him out.
And then Bonner just leaves her there.
Well, no,
and he's going to get up.
Then Bonner and Wendy start making out on the stairs, and I'm like, first of all, Wendy, your boyfriend, who's not here, he's the president, and he's not even at the frat right when all this is going on. You're with somebody, like you just consummated your all's Greek relationship by treeing him, and you're gonna start tonguing some other guy's throat right in front of this dead ghost zombie army vet thing. This is not the time. So Bonner's like, I'm gonna go to town and I'm gonna go to town for help, and she's like, well, I'm gonna go upstairs to try the phone. Okay, how about you both go upstairs real quick, just RQ, try the phone, and then leave the house together. Why are we splitting up? Everyone else is dead. Why? What time are you saving, idiots? Sorry, I got real mad at that.
And then so they're like,
surprised you said he isn't dead.
Yeah, he isn't dead. And then
she's on the phone.
Right, but he's like asking all these questions or something, and then Sid, Bonner
Well, he pretends to be Bonner while Wendy's on the phone. She's on the phone, and all this smoke appears out of nowhere, and then it sounds like Bonner's talking, but then it's Sid's hand. So then he basically knocks her out, rips her shirt off, and then Bonner comes back into the house and saves her.
Yeah.
But what you're saying, he's been asking everybody he's killed the whole movie. He's like, "Who are you?" Yeah. And they all, it's almost like some hazing thing. It's like, "I'm nobody, sir. I'm a loser, sir. I'm a grunt, sir." Well, Bonner's like, "I'm Larry Bonner." And he's like, "I came back to protect you." And then he vanishes.
And then he vanishes.
Well, so yeah, he just disappears. I guess he's killed everybody. He's protected him. So this is right when you're like, "Oh, okay. Well, I guess Sid is Bonner's dad." I guess.
Yeah, that's what we're supposed to assume. And really, thanks a lot. I mean, like.
Yeah, you killed all my friends.
Thanks,
killed Dad.
Everyone.
Thanks, Daddy, dearest.
I'll be really cool around campus.
I'll be really cool on campus that my ghost zombie dad killed all my friends, and I have no frat to join now because I didn't rush Sigma Chi. I rugged Phi Epsilon Nu. So yeah. Boo, boo, boo. But then it's almost like they're trying to set us up for a sequel. We get this scene, and it shows Rex, who is Wendy's ex now at this point, allegedly. He's macking on some other girl. He's like, "I lost my class to a maniac. I lost my girl to a pledge. Do me, baby." I mean, not really in his words, but they start doing it on the world's tallest bunk bed, like straight out of Swiss Family Robinson or something. It's like a 10-foot tall bunk bed, right? I've never seen one that big.
I'm sorry, my dog just farted so bad, and it's making me want to vomit.
Well, join the club on.
Oh my God.
That's pledge.
Oh my God, this is foul. Anyway, go ahead.
But basically, Daddy Dearest just comes through with that sword again, and he's under the bunk bed and probably had to spear them both, a la Jason Voorhees. But right before he does, it goes to the credits, so you can assume that Rex and his girl were both just killed. Yeah.
But Bonner and Wendy are okay, so.
Yeah, so that brings us to, if you count Sid as flashback death and you assume these two, that's 14 dead people in this movie. So that's a lot of deaths for 35 minutes of the movie, since they all happen after the first 40 to 45 minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
So.
Yes. Yeah. And some of them are done by.
Dan possessed as.
And I guess we're supposed to assume, but
he's possessed.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, it's a supernatural slasher. There's no. I mean, he wouldn't have just been killed. I mean, he was. I think it was he. I mean, he was possessed.
Yeah.
Quite Freddy 2 just popped right out of him. So that's it.
What do you give this?
Probably a 2.5. I mean, I'd give it more, but the acting was just so wretched. I love the deaths, and I really did enjoy Sid. He could have been funnier. They could have tried to make his one-liners and things land a little better than they did, giving him a little more, I don't know, whatever. But so 2.5. What about you?
Well, I was listening to our one on House on Sorority Row, and I realized I only gave that like 1.5 to 2 stars. So
you were gonna give like a 1.
No, I was gonna give it a 1.5. Yeah, I know. I was giving it a 1.5, and I gave it a 2.
Originally, you were like 1, and then 1.5, and then you're like, okay, I'll bump it up for a 0.5 star on the option that I might have lunch with Eileen Davidson.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, valid reason. Hey.
It's a valid reason.
I'll half it up too.
I'll fucking put that as a 5 if you feel she'll have. I would say this.
I'll give it a 5 if Hanson shows up.
To any of these. So I think I would give this. Okay, I would say because I do have a lot of nostalgia with it, so I'll probably give it a 3.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. Yeah, again, nostalgia. We've done it to death on episodes. It's a very big, important factor on why we rate things higher. If I had seen this repeatedly as a child or growing up, even in adolescence, I would have liked it a whole lot more than I did. The pranks were boring to me, and they were gaggy and not in a good way. And all the dudes were just there. I mean, it was just like literally, it looked like someone just was like cruising down a street. Like, hey, you want to be in this movie? I don't know if you can even breathe, but come act in this movie. To watch it and make fun with friends. I definitely would rate it higher.
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, that would be a good reason.
Do we have fun facts?
Yes, we do.
Oh, heck
the lead singer of Anthrax plays young Sid.
Oh, in the flashback scene, the one that gets killed.
Yeah.
He doesn't play. He doesn't play zombie.
No, I guess not.
Why would they do that?
I don't know. So the film had to be submitted to the MPAA 5 times. Because they had to tone. Yeah, they had to tone
Probably,
it down.
Always.
It was
everything was X-rated in the 80s, and I'm like, but even if you added that shit in now, it would all be shown. We'd see it all.
I mean, it would be. We've seen far more shown.
Worse.
But at the same time, I'm glad that it was like that because I don't like to watch Saw. I don't like to watch Hostel. Well, I don't like watching bullshit.
I don't want to watch Saw and Hostel. That's not what I'm talking about. Torture porn. I'm talking about just seeing someone get killed, like in the Friday the 13th remake, even. Like, I mean, just a normal kill scene.
I just think it's like
not a torture scene. Just a death scene.
I mean, I know. I just think there should be a good. We never found like a medium like.
I mean, everything's rated R now.
It was like, okay, either we're gonna cut out all this shit because it's too gross, or now it's like, well, you can put fucking anything in, so we'll just
put anything in, and no matter what, it's rated R.
Yeah.
I mean,
so whatever, or they have to cut, or they have to cut 3 seconds out of something. I mean, it's stupid.
Yeah, not the whole scene. Not the whole scene. I would have loved to see this hand mixer down her throat. Yeah, like that would have been our logo. Stay gagged.
Yeah, actually. So it was shot over the course of 12 days in 1988, which I guess is where they're getting the 1988. It was probably shelved and put out in 1990. Is what I'm
maybe that's what happened. Yeah, because it's everywhere. And even IMDb says 88 in the parentheses. But then when you scroll down and look, it's like release date, December of 1990, like almost 91 even.
Yeah, I would say that this was shot and finished, and it probably sat somewhere for about a year, and then they decided to put it out.
Gotcha.
And okay, so the bulk of the cast was found by placing an ad in Backstage magazine, which is, I mean, anyone can.
Oh, well, that's basically what I said then, didn't it?
Yep, exactly.
Sears catalog.
So, okay, all the hazing, pranks, and initiation rites featured were based on things that the writer Joyce Snyder found out about through her extensive, so the writer was female, her extensive research on the subject of college fraternity hazing practices, which, I mean, yeah, those all look like things that happen that I've heard about. I mean,
some of them seem like it. I didn't know about, well, if they really happened or not. They got really aggressive on my campus. Well, so what I heard about, the ones I'd heard about were, I didn't hear about the bugs. I'd heard about the branding / fake branding. And I'd heard about like eating, not poop, but just nasty things that you think they're poop, but they aren't. The only thing that, like, there was something at one of the colleges, I'm pretty sure, it was either UT or my ETSU, one of the fraternities made their pledges roll around in broken glass while they pissed all over them.
I don't know, probably.
And then one of the pledges got hepatitis and they shut it down. Which good for them.
Well,
yeah, I mean,
one day I went out on a rabbit hole of people that have died during, like, because there's a wiki, there's a wiki page for it, like the people that have died during like hazing incidences on college campuses. And like yes. Oh my God. Yes. There are tons of people that have died. And it's usually because of things like, either they drown in their own water because, you can drink so much water that you drown from it. Way too much, or way too much beer, like alcohol poisoning. A lot of times it's because they're made to like stand outside in frigid weather and they die that way. I mean, it's like and I mean, come on, Law and Order SVU. That violin bow went up that guy's ass.
That violin, I thought was it a violin or cello?
No, it was a violin.
Either way, I mean,
it wasn't even a pledge. Like, it wasn't even like it was a pledge that did it, like an ex-pledge that did it to them because he had raped him or something.
Yeah.
To get back at him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a lot of fucked up shit goes down. Like,
does it say what you've looked at on the rabbit hole spiral that you went down? Is it more for fraternities than sororities with the deaths?
Yes. Yeah.
That sadly, Sadly, I wasn't. I'm not shocked, but
I think, and I don't even know if the sororities have a page for it. Like, I don't think
because you know what they're doing? They're just literally just hitting each other with pillows and feathers everywhere and titties. Come on now. If anything, we've learned, right? And that what they do? They don't do anything dangerous.
Okay. List of hazing deaths in the United States. There's a whole page for it, and it starts in the fucking 18th, 19th century.
Oh. Yeah.
I'll send it to you so you can
Oh,
look
cool.
at it.
Yeah, we can look at that. That's wild. But yeah, so I guess I'm surprised there's not more horror about it.
Well, the fact, and I think the reason that there isn't as much about it is because there's such like a stigma against like dropping out, like you're seen as like a pussy or whatever, and like there are so many of network. The fucking college will lie about it.
Well, suddenly Skulls seems a lot scarier now. I mean, even though Skulls is like the secret society kind of stuff, but the movie itself and that franchise seems a lot scarier because it's actually like even a more like secretive frat or whatever organization. Like that actually seems pretty terrifying now.
Yeah, no,
to me.
Sure.
Yeah.
But like, and the thing is that there's way much more death that doesn't ever come out because there's such a secret like they have this all this secrecy within the group, and it does help you network and get like these CEO positions and stuff like that, like being in certain frats. So, I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, well,
I think there's a shit ton. The only time that we find out about it is if someone died and they were unable to cover it up, because there's so many people that have probably died during a hazy incident that it was completely covered up and no one will ever find out about it.
I would say hazy incidents and sex workers gone wrong there's a lot of deaths that we will never know about that have been covered up by trash like that. What do you you know what I mean?
Oh, for sure. Oh, you mean that? What are they called? Unimportant people, like called IPs or something, like unimportant person.
Oh, maybe you're right. I've heard of that.
Or something like that. It's like it's homeless people. I don't know if that's the right term, but
it's what they expendable people, but they're not.
Yeah, it's like homeless people and like runaways, sex workers, that are way more likely to be killed. I mean, why do you think the Green River Killer got away with the killing people for fucking 30 years?
Exactly.
It's because all he killed was prostitutes, and there wasn't anyone looking for them because they had been runaways, and
we care now. We would have cared then, but like one of the taglines for this movie is "Brothers to the end." The very end. More like father and son to the end. Because like there ain't no brotherhood in this movie, basically.
And you know what? If that bitch had just told Bonner, his mom, I'm saying, that was his dad, then we could have avoided all of this.
He would have been like, Dad.
Yeah, he could have been like, Dad, it's me. Please don't do this.
Yeah, it's like, I know you look like Amelia Kincaid from Night of the Demons, but had sex with Freddy, but like, I figured it out. So in an alternate timeline, Bonner is Freddy Krueger's grandson because Sid is 100% Angela and Freddy's son. Has to be.
Yeah.
I mean, if you put a DNA test, 100% that bitch is Sid. So there could be add this to the list, Emily, for sequels we're making.
Sequels, God. Oh my God. Our Pledge Eye sequel that says Angela, Freddy Krueger, and Larry Bonner. That's the stars.
I think this will be Pledge Night, and it'll be called Into the Horrorverse. And we will do what Marvel did for the multiverse for the horrorverse, and we'll start bringing in everybody, and then we can bring in Jason because Freddy versus Jason. We got this.
Yeah,
so rich,
and we'll probably have all the A-list actors wanting to be in it also.
I mean, there's no Sears.
We can at least get Eileen.
Oh my God, we get Eileen, and we'll get everybody else from that.
We'll get all we can get all the housewives probably.
I mean, hey, do you forget we did we can star on our own? Like, what's his name from Boarding House?
Oh yeah,
John something.
His name? I mean, yeah, people still watch it, so I mean, yeah, whatever, yeah, Hawk Adley, but it's also something else, yeah.
Yeah, so we talked about this earlier too, because you had said on the cover it's got the hand with the peace sign holding the banana, which makes a lot more sense when you see the movie. But then like the toilet seat also has
very homoerotic there.
And it has the banana. Yeah, it has all these shit stains all over it. I'm like, it's like streaks, and I'm like,
yeah.
Or maybe it's supposed to be blood and it looks brown.
No, I don't know. I'm looking at it right now.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it looks like blood. So okay, and the key reason that the guy that played Dan was cast was because the writer producer Joyce Snyder loved his laugh, so that's why he was picked.
Oh God, I wanted to gag myself with that sword.
Now listen,
in a bad way, because it was awful. He was awful. I hated Dan. Ugh.
And this is the only movie written or produced by Joyce Snyder that isn't rated X.
Well, she should have made this one rated X and gotten over it.
Yeah. So one cast member quit right before shooting began because he took offense with the homoerotic nature of the various fraternity hazing practices featured in this film.
Oh my God! Well, he's probably a politician in.
You know what he's probably doing
Great
right now?
Plains now.
You know what he's doing right now? He's sucking dick while he gets his asshole pounded. That's what he's doing.
Sucking dick because he was too scared to whatever.
He was so scared of being gay that he left a movie just because of something that happens in fraternities. So yeah, he's definitely getting plowed right now.
It has to be. Hopefully he's out and happy and living his best life now, though. And hopefully he didn't take a turn for the worse and repress it and put it into anger and hate. We can only hope, right?
I
have to have optimism. Okay, there are these stories.
I mean, this is a guy that quit a movie because
but it was the 80s, and he could have been young. Who knows? He might have changed his life around.
Well, I'd say he's probably a politician, but
probably.
Sure.
I mean, he probably has a boom boom room of his own.
Yeah.
All right. So, is there any more fun facts?
No more. That's it.
Well, I guess I'll say, stay gagged on hand mixers.
That's what I was asking. Stay gagged on fire. Stay gagged on fire pokers. Don't they use those in this movie?
Yeah. Stay gagged on putting cherries or cherry bombs in your butt hole.
In your butt hole. That what that reminded me of. What is the thing?
He's going rafting.
No, that quote from House on Sorority Row where it's like, but did he know she was dead? Something like that.
We know he is alive. All right, what you got?
How do we know that he is alive?
Yeah.
Okay, I can't. That's the last thing I'm.
All right, well, stay gagged on bursting through the chests of your enemies, and stay gagged on following us on all social media and YouTube. Review, like, share, preach, summon us with a Ouija board. We're here.
We will come to your witch party.
We will so come to your witch party. So and Ouija party and anything. Call me on the Ouija, please. We got this.
Bye.
You guys, deuces.
it supposed to be this song?
With me, come on, won't you do it with me? Do the bluebell right now.
With it. Can't live
Look,
with
this
it.
Montez
Live
and
without
it with me.
Just massage your thighs while you eat.